I've just rewritten the Euler's equations. You don't need to write them again. This we have done at least 2 or 3 times in the course. At least the first one, this is the third time I think I'm writing the equations. This is just, of course, as I told you, you don't have to remember them. The formulas will be given to you. But at least the second one goes in a very nice trend. X, Y, Z, two minus signs. First one comes with the dot. The other two, these are Y, Z, so omega Y, omega Z. That's the way you can think of remembering it, and then it follows cyclically. Now the key thing in this is, how do we apply these equations? And let's take up an example. I think we had done something last time, but I'll take up one more example which will show how these equations are to be used in a proper way. Now, you have to identify in the problem how the motion of the rigid body is taking place. Is it about rotation about a single axis, or is it about more than one axis? If it is about a single axis, then you have an option. Either you can use form 1 or form 2. Both the options are available to you. Even for single axis rotation, you can use form 2. Okay, it's not that you can't use form 2. But other thing is that if it is a single axis rotation and you want to use form 1, then the way the equation has been written, then the omega has to be about omega k. Or what you can do is, for that particular configuration, write the general expression for h about a, and then you differentiate, and maybe you don't choose omega along k, you choose omega about some other axis, but then you differentiate that and rederive the equation in terms of whatever variables you have. Okay, so that is how these things are to be looked at. Now I have put up the solutions of all the chapters on the site, chapters 15, 16, 17, 18, but the solutions of 18 which have been put up, which I just took up from the book, the method followed is slightly different from the one which we will be using here. So let me first do some examples, and then maybe if there is time I'll discuss the difference in the methods. But as you will see, I have given you a recipe in the last class. If you simply follow the recipe, just focus on one part at a time, you will end up just getting to the results. I think some of you did that in minor too. You just followed things, and if you followed things, you ended up getting the answers. Maybe you may make a calculation mistake or something, but in general then that just works out. But you have to be careful about some conceptual things, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Let's take a problem here. And this problem will illustrate many things, so I'll take it up in many forms. We have a turntable. This is a turntable which is rotating about the given vertical axis with constant angular velocity omega. I'll keep omega as a constant. If it's changing, then all you have to do is add a single term omega dot. But I will let to keep things illustrative, I'll keep it at a constant velocity omega. And then what we have is, here at the edge of the turntable, the radius of the turntable is capital R. We have a point O, and on the point O, an axisymmetric body. So this body is axisymmetric about the axis which I have shown. So it's a axisymmetric body about this central axis. This is hinged. So body of mass m hinged at O. This is an axisymmetric body with respect to, I will now show, x, y, z axis. So here on this body I show these axes. This is x, perpendicular to x is y, and z is coming out. So on the body I fit these axes, small x, small y, small z, z coming out, and the body is axisymmetric with respect to this. Okay, that means it's a body of rotation which is made about this axis. Now also what I give is the center of mass of the body is at a distance h from point O. Okay. So these are all the things. The body's mass is given, its center of mass is given, and to make life easy I'll say Ixx, Iyy, Izz at center of mass. I can call it I, or I can say the and x, y, z, because this is an axisymmetric body, clearly are principal axis. This is the given data. Now there are two questions I'd like to ask. The first one a simple one, two parts of the same problem. Okay. So now part A is that find the force couple reaction at the hinge O such that theta is constant, or instead of find I'll say the equations, it turns out, will be too complex, you can't solve them. So you set up equations for the force couple reaction to find the force couple reaction at hinge O such that theta is constant. And here theta also will be an unknown which you will have to also find. So also I'll say such that theta is constant. So that means as you change omega, there is a particular omega at which you will find the body stops changing its angle theta, it just stays fixed. So you have to find that theta where it will stay fixed, and also you have to find the force couple reaction. If this exists, maybe this may not exist. Okay, this is one part. The second part is if theta is changing with time, let us say it's still rotating with omega, now omega is such, and you either push the body slightly so that now theta is a function of time. In case 1, we are saying theta is constant. So this is first problem. The second problem we will solve is that if omega is such that theta is equal to theta t, that means or you give a small nudge to the body so that it starts to rotate about the axis at O. So then set up equations for quantities in part A. So set up equations for the force couple reactions and also for the angle theta. This is our question. Is the question clear? So now given this, what we will do is, let us now come to part A. So how do we start? First thing we will do is draw the free body diagram. So we draw the free body diagram of the body. This is at an angle theta like this, and keep in mind this is the x axis, this is the y axis, z is coming out. Okay. So now in this free body diagram, what are the forces which will come? Well, clearly one force which will come will be the weight of the body, which is mg. Secondly, from the hinge at O, we will get reactions. Now, if this is a three-dimensional motion, then what we will have is, let's just take three-dimensional things, but for the first part we realize the body is moving only in a plane. It only has omega because theta is constant. If theta is constant, then the body is just carrying out rotation about the vertical axis. So it's a single axis rotation. Theta is the angle, okay, so I didn't write it here. Theta is the angle which the body axis makes with the vertical axis at O. So how can you?
The disc is like this, we can't hinge it around Z.
No, you have hinged it at point O on this thing.
But the pointer would be something that's curved like this. You can hinge it only in this direction.
On which direction? So it's hinged.
Into the plane, it would rotate into the plane and out of the plane.
No, the whole thing is going like this. You are hinging it here and at the tip.
Then how would it rotate in this manner?
No, with respect to that, see, if it's just think that if omega is 0, it's like this, then won't it oscillate?
It would oscillate like this. But
It would oscillate in this plane. And now when the whole thing rotates, it is rotating as well as oscillating for a general case. Okay. Well, this is just, it is at the tip. At this instant, it's being shown in a plane. But as the body rotates, obviously this plane is changing.
what is the axis of the
Axis of the hinge is coming out of the, it's coming out of the board. So it is axis of the hinge is Z as shown here. Small z. It is not hinged about the vertical.
If it is small z, then how can it rotate like this?
What? No, the rotation is being done by the turntable. It's fixed on the turntable. So it is sort of rotating like this about the turntable. Now the turntable itself rotates, what can it do? Okay. So now, given this, so in the free body diagram, now on the hinge, what will we get? Let's show a force which I call as a general reaction R. I'll just specify this, and a general couple C, but we will specify this, that this R, and in 3D problems, that is what we should do rather than, so this R will be Rxi plus Ryj plus Rzk, and what will be the couple C? Couple will be Cxi plus Cyj. There will be no k component of the couple. So I think with this you probably will, the picture becomes clear that there will be, when I draw the free body, and this is the sort of crux part from the mechanics viewpoint that we have to keep in mind, that when we draw the free body diagram, here the forces will come in all the three directions, the couple will come only about x and y. And keep in mind, when we say Rx, Ry, Rz, somewhere we tend to think that these are constant reactions. But here what you have to realize is x and y are changing their direction as the body moves. So therefore, for a general case, if the body is not fixed, in the first part it is not, theta is not changing, but if theta changes, then x and y keep on changing their directions. So the forces which are coming on the support are very complex supports, with whose directions are also changing. So, and that is why balancing of bodies is very important, because otherwise we have a variable reaction whose direction keeps on changing, and this you probably observe. That's why in car tires, etc., balancing is a very important part. If they are not balanced, then the wear and all is much more, because the support gets a varying reaction which is changing with time. and if that force becomes too much, eventually the thing may just come out of the subject. So, okay, that was a different thing. So this is the free body diagram. See, when you draw the free body diagram, you don't bother about anything else. Now, let us look at the, so this is the free body diagram. We have worked out the forces, we have shown their locations. Next part is, can we express, we know we'll put F is equal to m times AC. Can we express acceleration of center of mass in terms of these variables? Now for part A, what are our variables? Omega and theta. There is no theta dot. All we have to do is put things in terms of omega and theta. So can we find the acceleration of center of mass in terms of the given geometry and in terms of omega and theta? So for this part, if we try to visualize the motion of part C, or motion of point C, how is center C moving? In this case, it is just moving in a circle. What is the radius of that circle? R plus h sin theta. R is the radius of the turntable, h sin theta is the distance from here. So what we see is, to find acceleration of C, C moves in a circle of radius r plus h sin theta, and you should use simplifications like this for simple motions, and this will not be the case when we take part 2. So therefore what we have is, and now if something is moving in a circle, what is its acceleration? R omega square towards the center and R alpha. Now if omega is constant, so we just have R omega square. So therefore this acceleration, if you work it out, this will be nothing but equal to, so using this what you get is acceleration of C will be m times R plus h sin theta omega square in this direction. Is that clear? Because omega dot is 0, otherwise an extra term would have come. And so I can write it as equal to m times R plus h sin theta omega square times I put it in terms of our I and j, which are along the incline, and this thing, so we get minus cos theta j minus sin theta I. Okay? Because this is making an angle theta with the y axis. So therefore, minus the acceleration is making theta with y axis, so minus cos theta j minus sin theta I, as shown in the picture. So this completes one more part of the jigsaw which we will be finally fixing. Third thing which we have seen, we should express omega and omega dot. Now for this rigid body, what is its omega? What is its omega dot? So its omega is omega will be equal to, let's write it, it is omega of the body is omega about this vertical axis. Okay, so that means we have to express it in terms of cos theta and sin theta. So its omega is about this axis, so it will have a cos theta component along I, sin theta component along j, the x component will be negative, y component will be positive. So therefore if we look at it, so therefore omega becomes equal to minus omega cos theta I plus omega sin theta j plus 0. Okay. So this if I said, as I have recommended, you put it in matrix form, minus omega cos theta omega sin theta 0. And what is omega dot? For this particular problem, it is 0. So in the matrix form, I will put it as 0, 0, 0. So I have now worked out all the ingredients. Now I am ready to use my equations. I have worked out acceleration of center of mass, I have worked out omegas, I have worked out omega dots. So now I am ready to take the final plunge. So now I will put F is equal to MAC. That's the first equation I will put. So sum of the external forces. So for that I go to the free body diagram. The external forces are Rxi plus Ryj plus Rzk and minus mg, or mg appropriately. So I will get it as sum of the forces acting on the body will be Rxi plus Ryj plus Rzk, and then we have plus mg cos theta I minus mg sin theta j. Here, because the axes are tilted, I have to resolve mg along I and j. So this is the external force. So actually half of the problem is done. I have got forces here, I have got AC there. So all I have to do is just equate the two vectors, isn't it? So once you do things, break things in parts, all you have to now do is just equate them. So this must be equal to m times AC, and I'll just copy that. So this must be equal to m times r plus h sin theta omega square minus cos theta j minus sin theta r. That's it, nothing more to be done. So therefore, when I do the first part, let's equate all the I components. I get Rx plus mg cos theta is equal to minus of m into r plus h sin theta omega square sin theta. Similarly, I go to the y component. I will get Ry minus mg sin theta is equal to minus m times r plus h sin theta omega square cos theta, and Rz is equal to 0. Rz is equal to 0 should have been expected because this turned out to be a planar problem. So that means all the forces are in the xy direction and this thing. And also if we expect couples should also turn out to be 0 in this problem, because if it's a planar problem there will be nothing causing motion in the other thing. Okay. So now comes the, because if you look at the motion of the body, all the body is doing is moving about this axis because theta is constant. So planar in the sense, okay, single axis rotation. Okay. So if you look at the motion of center of mass, it is in a, okay, it's in the, is it in the same axisymmetric plane probably? Is it, will it be in the same plane? Yeah, it will be in the same horizontal plane. So in that way also it's planar. It's in the same that plane. It is not. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So this is now there is one subtle point. See, all these are just details. Actually, if you start working it out and things are given like this, it won't take you too much time. Now comes about which point do I apply Euler's equations, and that is the catch here. We have two possible points, A and C. I like to use it, or O and C, sorry. Why would I like to use it about O? Then R's will not come into picture, only Mg's come into picture. But now here, let's try to see, is the point O, is its acceleration 0 or is it accelerating? It is accelerating. What is the direction of acceleration of O? Towards the center of axis. So let's see. I'm very tempted to use this equation about point O, because I know about point O, all I have to do is shift my eyes. It won't be too much of a job. But then the acceleration of point O is in this direction. Is it towards the center of mass of the body? No. So that means I can't use the equation about point O in the direct Euler's equations. Is that clear? And this is the only catch in terms of conceptual this thing. So while I would like to cannot use Euler's equations directly. See, what are the conditions I need for Euler's equation? There are two conditions I need. The point should be a point on the body, and acceleration towards B should be one of those three. So now here, acceleration of O is in this direction, not towards center of mass. So that means if I use the equation about point O, then I have to go back to the basics. I calculate h about point O, which will be equal to h about c plus this, and then I'll choose a point O star which is coincident with O, but not on the body, it's a fixed point. About that point I express h as terms of h of c, and then I work it out. Otherwise the other option I have is, so therefore I use Euler's equations about C. This I can always do. Only thing I have to ensure is that I have principal axis. So now to use Euler's equations about C once more, let us go to the left hand side. The left hand side will come from the free body diagram. So I go back to my free body diagram. What are the moments about point C of all the external forces acting? What are the total moments? I will have Cxi plus Cyj plus minus of Hi crossed with R. That's it. So see, once you go to the free body, each part by itself is very simple, very trivial. Whole thing becomes complex. But you go one part at a time, there is no difficulty whatsoever in solving these problems. They may look big, they may look complex, and particularly for you people who are used to programming, if something like this comes, all you have to do is work out the concept and just set up a program to work these things out. So write a simple program. After you do this, at least the solution part you don't have to bother. You'll get a complex 3 equations which may be interconnected and all differentially. I'm not getting into the analytical solutions of those. Those can be done numerically. So let's, from this, moments about point C will be, as we have seen. So moments about point C will be equal to minus Hi cross R plus Cxi plus Cyj. So let me just work it out. So this will be equal to minus Hi cross Rxi plus Ryj. I already know Rz is 0, so this just becomes equal to minus Hi. So I cross j will give me k, so minus Ry h times k plus Cxi plus Cyj. Okay, this is the left hand side. I am not substituting the value for Ry, you can put that. That also contains thetas and so omega, everything that you can just substitute. Now let us go to the right hand side. And for right hand side, now what I have to do is, I have to go back to the first one, this equation. So you have to now choose which equation to use. They will be given to you along with some totally irrelevant equations. So you'll have to choose which one to pick up, and the conditions, so they will be given in the standard form. I won't give conditions and all. In fact, I will ask you, I'm telling you one question for the major. What are the conditions when this equation is valid? So I may give you 1 or 2 equations, or I'll say the formula sheet will have some numbers. What are the conditions on point A for formula 1 to be valid? What are the conditions on XYZ axis for formula 2 to be valid? Things like this could be there in the exam. Irrelevant ke liye to obviously I won't ask you for Schrodinger equation or for E is equal to mc square. I think I can ask. All of you probably know that, but that discretion you will have to leave to me. I may be very illogical, that's different, but that is a guess which you will have to take. Now right hand side. So that means now we go to the second equation which I have written. Let's see here. So now we have, now for that I will need to use that. I had somewhere worked, where is my omegas, where have I written that? I have, और नीचे ये रहा. So for that, to use the right hand side of Euler's equations, these two brackets will become very, very important, because that is all what I need to feed in there. I'll have to put in Ixx omega x dot minus Iyy minus Izz omega y omega z, etc. So I have to put this in. Is that clear? So let's write this. So minus omega cos theta omega sin theta. So when I do that, I'll just copy it again. Omega is equal to minus omega cos theta tha pehla sin theta tha. I think it was cos theta. And in the last class, I explained the logic to you why we should take omega dot with respect to ground and just take their components. There was a bit of a catch there, but I have explained that in the last lecture, so I am not repeating that. So once I have these two omega and omega dots, the right hand side I will get the total moment, the x component, let's focus on the x component, is equal to Ixx about c times omega x dot minus of Iyy minus Izz omega y omega z. Okay. Now from here the left hand side will come from the free body diagram. So this will give me c sub x is equal to omega x dot is 0. In this one we find this was 0, omega z is 0. So therefore what I will get is 0 plus 0, all the three terms which are there, they will all become 0. Okay. So C1 is just 0, which should be expected. On the right second term, the y component will be Cyj. So I will get here C sub y. This will be equal to Iyy omega y dot minus Izz minus Ixx. Irrespective of these values, this is omega x omega z. Once again omega z is 0. For this particular thing omega y is equal to 0. So Cy also becomes 0. Now for Cz we have Cz, there is no Cz but minus Ryh. So we get minus Ryh is equal to, now we have Izz omega z dot minus Ixx minus Iyy omega x omega y. Now be careful, omega z dot is 0. So this will become equal to, let us remove the two minus signs. So I get Ryh is equal to Ixx minus Iyy times omega x omega y. So I'll get minus omega square sin theta cos theta. And this gives me the equation. If I put in Ry, that contains a lot of thetas also. So this will give me a transcendental equation for theta. There is an equation for theta. Once we solve this, we will get the value of theta, and then one can move on to find Rx and Ry after that. Okay. So if you want, I'll just put in the final value. Let's put in what Ry was. So Ry was equal to, I'll just copy this. So if I put this in, Ry was mg sin theta minus m times r plus h sin theta. Okay. So this was what was Ry. I multiply this by h. This is equal to Ixx about c minus Iyy about c times minus omega square sin theta cos theta. So this is the equation which you will have to get to. This is a transcendental equation in theta. So this has been set up. And once I know theta, I have equations for Rx and Ry. Okay. So this is, now let us see. If we move to the second part, where theta is changing with time, then what complications will come in? Okay. So is this part clear? I'll give you some time to absorb this. Now actually this problem was a single axis rotation problem. So we could have also solved the problem by choosing x, y, z as the vertical axis and using the set of equations 1. But there the problem would have been, since the principal axes are inclined, what we would have had to do was, we would have had to calculate the product of inertias about the straight axis. And actually, very technically I have written the formula only once in the class. I have not used any problem to solve product of inertias transformation from inclined to straight axis. So that is why I am not solving using that method. But if we do it, what will happen there is omega equation will become simple, but i's will become more complex, and you will have I xz and I yz. They will not be 0. One of them, this one will be 0. The one z will be 0. Z will still be principal. Z, I, x. If we take z as the vertical axis, then there we'll have. If we use the formula in the same form, we have to take z as the vertical. So then the one coming out will be x. So the one axis coming out of the plane, that will be principal axis, not the other two. So one of those will not be 0, the product of inertias. So that's why I'm not recommending that method, since we have not done the transformation. But it can be done that way also.
Every problem will be a single axis problem.
No, because let's see the second version of this. Now, see, it's single axis probably locally, but not about a fixed axis. So now in the second part, part B, what change has come? The free body diagram stays the same, because we have drawn and we have shown couples in I and J. There is no change in the free body diagram. The forces are not, unknown forces etc. stay the same with respect to the kinematics doesn't change forces. They'll change it in the terms of magnitude, but in notional representation and what forces are coming, free body diagram stays the same. But now, and that will answer your question, let us see what is omega. Now, when we use Euler's equation, we take omega as omega of the body. We fit the axis on the body. Now that means omega of the body, which I am going to write, this will be equal to, and now I will use omega 1 just to, because we are using omega as a vector, just to show this omega as omega 1. So I will put it as omega 1 capital E plus theta dot k. So this is what I write for variable theta. What is capital E? Capital E is a unit vector along this axis which is fixed in space. What we keep in mind is omega 1 is about an axis which is fixed in space, whereas theta dot is about a axis which is changing its direction at every instant. And that is what answers that it's not a single axis rotation always about a fixed axis in space. So the question was a fixed axis. It could be about, obviously you have one omega, you say I choose that as my axis, but then that axis will change its direction. So that is the, okay. So now here the reason why I have written it like this is, so this I can now work out. So omega will be, so now what is, first of all, capital E clearly is minus cos theta I plus sin theta j. At this instant, this is the value of capital E. Okay. Now So omega will be equal to omega 1 cos theta I plus omega 1 sin theta j plus theta dot k. So what we'll get for omega is, so omega is equal to and theta dot. Now what is omega dot? Omega dot will be omega 1 dot E plus omega 1 E dot plus theta double dot k plus theta dot k dot. Is that clear? This is one way of doing it. Otherwise, you say k is rotating about an axis, we take its derivative. So omega dot with respect to ground, this will be equal to omega 1 dot E plus omega 1 E dot plus theta double dot k plus theta dot k dot. Okay. Now here omega 1 dot is equal to 0. This is given to us. If it was not 0, we would have just put that. Capital E dot is 0 because capital E is fixed axis in space. Theta double dot, we have to find the equations. What is k dot? This is k dot with respect to ground. Now what is the angular velocity with which the k axis is rotating with respect to ground? It is omega 1 E. So therefore k dot will be equal to omega 1 E crossed with k. I don't know why this has to start, I don't know. So this will be equal to omega 1 times E. So I will put it as k dot is equal to, will be equal to omega 1 E crossed with k. So this will be equal to, what is omega 1 E minus omega 1 I cross k will be I. So therefore I get omega cross omega and plus theta double dot k. Okay, let's get breaking of the flow is obviously very bad, but anyway. So now what I get here is, if I write omega dot, I will get it as omega 1 theta dot sin theta, omega 1 theta dot cos theta, and theta double dot. This is omega dot, and earlier we have already shown omega was equal to minus omega 1 cos theta I, omega 1 sin theta j, and theta dot. So once again we have completed the basic ingredients. We have worked out omega, we have worked out omega dot. But now there is one more complication. We also need to work out acceleration of C. In this case, what is acceleration of C? C is now not moving in a circle of constant radius. C has a very complex path. So how do we find acceleration of C? acceleration of c. So now keep in mind, this is our figure, this was the turntable, and this is the body, this is the center of mass, this distance is h, this is x, this is y, z is coming out of the board. This is our geometry, x, y, z, and then this is omega, this angle. This is a total geometry. So now to work out acceleration of c, I have to go to chapter 15. And because I have already worked out omega and omega dot of the body with respect to ground, the best thing will be, is there a point on this body whose acceleration I know? O. So acceleration of c, if this is point O, what I will do is I will directly use it as acceleration of O plus omega cross hc, which is OC, which is hi, plus omega dot cross hi. That's it. ठीक है? Now here omegas are omega with respect to ground, omega dot is omega dot with respect to ground. Any questions? हाँ पूछ लो भाई. इसमें नहीं, हाँ तो इसलिए है because both O and C are in the same rigid body. That is why 2 omega cross VREL and plus AREL terms are 0. I could have also done the problem by choosing the fixed frame on body 1. But the reason, no, it won't be complex, but the reason I am not doing it is I have already worked out omega and omega dot with respect to ground for the body. So then there is no need for me. The need would have come, luckily for me, I know a point whose acceleration I know. So now for this again, we break the problem into parts. That is the crux of making life simple in this course, particularly with respect to these complex problems. What is acceleration of O? Acceleration of O is equal to r omega 1 square inwards. Okay, so now this I will write it as equal to minus r omega square cos theta j minus r omega square sin theta I. One part done. Now let's do I'm first going to the third part, omega dot cross hi. So all what I have to do is I have omega dot, so it will be equal to cross hi. So I don't need to bother about the I component. I just have to bother about the other two components. So this will be equal to omega 1 theta dot cos theta j plus theta double dot k crossed with hi. I have deliberately not written the first part because now I cross I is 0. So I am using some intelligence also rather than just numerical this thing. So this will just become equal to minus omega 1 theta dot cos theta h times k, and k cross I will be j, so plus h theta double dot j. Okay. Next, omega cross hi. Actually I should put a bracket here. So first I will have to work out omega cross hi. Everything is tedious, but you'll just concentrate. Now omega cross hi, once again I will put it as omega 1 sin theta j plus theta dot k cross hi. The reason I again don't put the I component, why carry things which are not needed. So this will become equal to, so j cross I is minus, so minus h omega 1 sin theta k, k cross I is j, so plus h theta dot j. Okay. Next, I have to take omega cross hi, and now I have Now I don't have any shortcuts. I have minus omega 1 cos theta I plus omega 1 sin theta j crossed with minus h omega 1 sin theta k. Okay. So now carry out this. So I cross k will give me what? Minus j. So minus h omega 1 square I cross j will give me k. So तो फीडबैक कम करते हटा ही देता हूँ इसको. Okay. Then I have j cross k. J cross k is minus I, so j cross k is plus I. So minus h omega 1 square j cross j is 0, k cross j k is 0, k cross j. So minus h theta dot square I. So that gives us omega cross omega cross. Now what do? Add up all these three. So total acceleration of center of mass, this will become equal to, I am doing what you would be doing in the exam, so I am also going through that, minus r omega square cos theta j sin theta I. Then I have the second term, minus omega 1 theta dot cos theta h cos theta h k dot j, and then I have these four terms. Okay, so all we have to do is combine all the I, j and k's together. In fact, this step I should have been a bit smarter, kept all I, j and k's together. I think one or two things do cancel out and add up and things like that. I'll just write the final form from my notes. So when you do this, this becomes equal to minus of bandi kar do sin theta plus h theta dot square plus h omega 1 square sin square theta I plus minus r omega square cos theta plus h theta double dot minus h omega 1 square sin theta cos theta j plus minus 2 omega 1 theta dot h cos theta k. This is what you'll find. But there may be an error there, but I think at 1 o'clock in the night when I was working this out today morning, I would not have made a mistake. I work the best in late hours, so hopefully you don't have the pleasure of writing your exam at midnight. I think that is what you would all prefer, isn't it? No? Doesn't your mind work best in the night? Morning, acha. You still have not been corrupted by IIT. That is what I will say. Okay. So now what do we have? I have got AC, I have got omega dots. So actually nothing else remains. See here, AC was not trivial. This is what you have to realize. So now when we apply the Euler's equations about point C, so we will get, so first we apply the force equation. The force equation gives me Rxi plus Ryj plus Rzk plus mg cos theta I minus mg sin theta is equal to m times AC. So in AC you are going to put this I plus this J plus this K, and from here you will be able to get Rx, Ry and Rz. And now you realize for this particular configuration Rz is not 0. In planar motion we got Rz as 0, but here you will get Rz is equal to minus 2m omega 1 theta dot h cos theta. Okay. So this is what will give you the three equations for R1, Rx, Ry, Rz. Now for Euler's equation we will get Cxi plus Cyj plus minus Hi cross Rxi plus Ryj plus Rzk. This is the left hand side. So this is equal to total moments about point C. And when you apply it, what you will get is, apply the x component is only Cx, I cross I is 0, so you will get Cx is equal to, now you have, and this is what once more I am going to show you, Ixx times omega dot. Omega x dot is clearly nothing but omega 1 theta dot sin theta. So you just have to copy it from here. Omega 1 theta dot sin theta minus of Iyy minus Izz, and then you have to copy omega y, omega z. Omega y is omega 1 sin theta times theta dot. So just copy that, omega 1 sin theta theta dot. That's it. So see, once you have worked out, this part is really quite straightforward. For the y component you will get Cy plus, now Rz is not 0, so there is a component from Rz also, Cy plus Rzh, this will be equal to Iyy times omega dots y component, which is equal to omega 1 theta dot cos theta minus Izz minus Ixx times, now we have in this one it's y, so omega x, omega z, so minus omega 1 cos theta theta dot, and the third one will be equal to r, this will be moments about the z axis, so the k component is what, it will be minus r3 minus r2h minus ryh, this will be equal to Izz times theta double dot minus Ixx minus Iyy z omega x, omega y, so you will get minus omega 1 square sin theta cos theta, and that completes my problem. Only one more simplification we can do. The body is a symmetric body, body of axisymmetric body. So therefore, what can I say about Iyy and Izz for the body? If I look into this picture here, this is a body of symmetry, x is the axis of symmetry. For an axisymmetric body, Iyy and Izz should be equal. Okay. So if Iyy and Izz are equal, then this part automatically becomes 0, irrespective of the body. And if the body is a planar body like a disc, let us say, so then Iyy is equal to Izz and Ixx is twice of that. So if that also is there, then you can get some more simplifications. And those simplifications maybe you can do before you go to Euler's equation, so that you don't even have to bother about those. But this is how one does a complete problem on Euler's equation. ठीक है, एग्जाम में हो जाएगा. But what about this one part of the class to which I don't seem to address at all? At least, see what I'm saying, there's so many parts here, and normally in the question paper I give you things with parts. So please go through all the parts. Maybe it may be a part D, but it may be fairly simple. So just do that, and even in a later part, if you have not been able to solve some earlier part, at least write the later part equations. So you won't get the credit for the earlier part, but for the later part you will definitely get the credit if you have put the equations correctly. So go through the steps, and as I told you, most time the steps are given to get to the final answer. So you can, as I said, using Euler's equations would then be straightforward. The other thing we have to keep in mind, at least as far as all these problems go, there are some problems where we conserve angular momentum, where angular impulse is 0. There we have to be careful about which point can we conserve the angular momentum. And once again, either it has to be the center of mass, or if we are talking of two bodies together, then if angular impulse is 0, but then that point has to be a fixed point. It cannot be a point on one of the bodies. Okay. The third thing we showed, which may come out handy, is that if you are talking of the center of mass and another point which is coincident with center of mass but fixed in space, then angular momentum of a rigid body about these 2 points will be the same. Whatever is the angular momentum about center of mass, plus we will get C star, which is 0, crossed with m times Vc. So therefore, we had done a problem like that where we talked of a body hitting another body and we conserved angular momentum, and we chose the point as center of mass, coincident with center of mass but fixed in space of the complex body. For the second body we were able to calculate the angular momentum rather easily. Also in impulse momentum problems you will have to see, are there any restraining forces, because then they will also provide impulsive forces. So I won't solve this problem, but as a last example, so this problem we have solved in full. Suppose if I have a body O, a plate let us say, which is hanging, it could be a rectangular plate, and this is a ball and socket joint which is restraining. Now what does the ball and socket joint restrain? It does not allow any linear motion, it allows all angular motion. Now I say a bullet, so this mass is m, this mass is small m. A bullet of mass small m traveling with a velocity v1, which could be either all I, j, k components or only one component, comes and hits this plate and it gets fixed in the plate. Now I ask you, what is the angular velocity of this plate just after the bullet has got embedded? I may also ask you, what are the impulsive reactions for the socket at the ball and socket joint just after the, or impulsive reactions during this process. Okay. So now here in a problem like this, if you have to solve things, you have two equations. The change in linear momentum of the system is equal to the sum of external impulses. So now if I draw an impulse diagram, which we have used the term, if for the plate we draw an impulse diagram, what we will have is, at the point O, we will have Ox, Oy, Oz. We will have an impulsive force which will act because we are holding this plate at this point. And what we have is, before the impact, the momentum is m times v1, small m times v1. After the impact, what will be the angular momentum of the body? And this, what will happen is, if you are to calculate the impulsive reaction, so what you will have to then do is the total Oxi plus Oyj plus Ozk. This is the total impulsive reactions. This will be equal to the change in momentum of the system, because for the total system, the bullet and this, if I look at the bullet and the plate together as a system, then there is no external impulse other than this. So this has to be accounted for. This will be equal to change in linear momentum of the system. So if we have to work out the change in linear momentum of the system, let's see. Now change in L, write it as capital M times change in Vc for the plate plus small m times change in velocity of the bullet. If there are two components, we can write change in momentum of part 1 plus change in momentum of part 2. Okay. Now here for the plate, initially Vc is 0. Okay. Finally, this will be equal to omega cross Rc. So now, if the center of mass is located somewhere here, maybe we say it is located at a distance of h from here. So then in this case, center of mass is just minus hj. So, but otherwise whatever it is, this Rc will be known. Omega is what you have to find out. We don't know omega. So this is omega cross Rc. Now for the bullet, initially velocity is equal to v1. Finally, if the bullet has got embedded in the system, its velocity will be equal to omega cross Rb, where we have placed the origin at the fixed point. So we go to wherever the bullet is, this is Rb. So I assume you will be able to work this out. So now the total change in momentum here, in linear momentum, so what we will get is, when we combine everything together, so these you will have to work out, Oxi plus Oyj plus Ozk, these are all impulses. This will be equal to, let us write capital M times omega cross Rc plus small m times omega cross Rb minus small m times v1. Okay. This is the total impulse. But then to find the problem, we need to find omega. Now to find omega, now why can I conserve h about point O? It is a fixed point, and about this point the impulses due to O are 0, and whatever impulses are there, if I consider both as a system, they will cancel out. So that is why I can conserve H about 0.0 for the whole system. I have to keep this in mind that I could have thought of conserving H about C, but I can't conserve H about C. Why? Because the impulse at O is there. So either I have to say this plus the impulse is equal to that, then it's fine. But conservation means you're just saying H initial is equal to H final. Now in conservation of H, for the plate, I assume we have been given either if it's a rod or cylinder or whatever, its geometry is known. So therefore Ixx, we assume their principal axis, it's a simple body, Izz about C. They are known. If they are known about C, we will shift them to O. So shift to O, and here if the axis is like this, shifting to O will not create any product of inertia. Why? Because we are shifting only along one axis. So you shift them to O, and then H will be equal to I times, so it will be equal to Ixx omega xi plus Iyy omega yj plus Izz omega zk. So this is what we will get for H. Okay. So initially it is 0, finally you will get it in terms of I. So you have to now shift it to O's. Okay, this is for the plate. Now for the bullet, H about O for the bullet, initially this will be equal to RB cross MB1. Okay, and finally once again we will use this formula. This will be equal to RB cross M times V of the bullet. What is V of the bullet? Omega cross RB. So you equate these two, you will be able to get omega directly, because they are the only unknowns. You will be able to get omega x, omega y, omega z, and then you feed them in here, you will be able to get this. So therefore you have to be sort of careful, look about things. Of course things may not be as complex. I may give you just a simple rod, so then some I's are straightforward, some I's are 0 and so on, so it may not be such a tedious calculation.